final Saturday morning episode of the Massatators Variety Hour. At least until next June.
You don't have to think about that for like 5 more days.
Okay, then we'll go to commenting on how much she needs to shower again.
So here's the problem with us camping around others. Those guys showed up at like 12:30 in the night, woke us up, lights everywhere. Doesn't matter. That I'm fine with. But somebody, who shall go nameless, hi Blondie, random aside, has been giggling loudly all morning for, I don't know why, no reason, and probably woke those guys up like 12 times. About 5 minutes out of camp and I've hit 4 day hikers so far. But see, that's actually fun because sometimes, you start the conversation and they're like, oh, are you northbound on the AT? And I'm like, AT? No, I came out of Key West. And I'm like, oh. Well, hopefully you weren't too attached to those views because we're right back down into the trees. So we are currently trying to figure out plans for Taters last week. We also have the 2 above tree line zones up ahead. And Fredonia is the first one. I think that's how you pronounce it. And looks like we got a bit of weather coming in on Monday. Sunday. So our thinking right now, it being Saturday, is we're going to do about 15 miles again today. Get just shy of the 93 because it's really hard to get a hotel room on a Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, get a ride into Lincoln, deal with the shoes, get food, kick back, come back out Monday, ready to rock. And then we should be good even with a conservative schedule to make Pinkham Notch by Thursday, which is when we need to go back into town so we can get a hotel so Taters can shower and be ready to be picked up Friday for her ride to the airport. That seems like the most realistic. That way she gets to do the fun part of the whites, but we don't have to worry about hiking through half the night. Just try and hit some point. If it goes noticeably easier than we expect, then there are a few spots past that we can meet instead. So then once she departs, it'll just be aim for Katahdin and get there in as good a time as I can. Usually I end up speeding up a little bit when she's not with me just because, I hike hills a little faster, stuff like that. And there's less incentive to hang around and just enjoy life. And with the ongoing theme of everything falling apart, I just had my underwear split. Okay, so we are confirmed in Lincoln tomorrow night. Basically, it's supposed to be stormy and we don't want to be in the Alpine zone during that on Franconia. So Sunday night in the hotel and then back hiking Monday. Wow, this has been quite the climb. I have no doubt some people... So we're not using them, but we've found plenty of campsites like this along the way. They're not real big, but they work. Some are close to the trail, some are further off.
So that was, that didn't really work out so well. The second one actually lasted.
Okay, so now we're done with the steep up and we're proceeding to the steep down. Goal is to just get as close to 93 as we can tonight so we can meet our new friends at 9:30 in the morning. As usual, the shelter back there looked packed. Supposedly we have the first of the AMC huts up ahead of us, so we're probably not going to do much more than walk by. So in some places they've installed steps onto the rock. They're still kind of rough to step down onto, but in a lot of cases they're missing. You see that lower one, the board's obviously gone. And it looks like we have found the first of the AMC huts. So yeah, we'll see if we're gonna get nailed here. You see that cloud, right?
Yeah.
Can you shake your fists at the sky again?
No sooner had he said something about shaking your fist at the clouds. And here we go.
Okay, this is me cussing. Damn it. Okay, and we've got thunder and lightning and the rain just got harder. We finally found a spot. There were 3 sites all around here and all of them had people in them. Typical AT. Anyway, home sweet home for the night.
Home sweet home.
Messitator hair care time in the morning. Featuring Blondie's pants. And me choking on coffee. I can do this, seriously. Okay, so last night, let's see, what's the French word? Sucked. We got to that hut and there were people everywhere. Turned the corner, it's like, oh my God, there's people. Went down to the lake, oh my God, there's people. Hey, look at that cloud out there. And then all living hell broke loose out of said cloud, sending us scrambling. It was those like big drops. This didn't start as a drizzle. So then we're trying to get our rain gear on like as quickly as we can, right? And I take one step, go down on a log. So now my knee's messed up. Now we're limping along in the heavy rain. And yeah, all those rocks we've been walking on were now like filled with water in between. And we had to hike a while after dark since we needed to get down here. Fun times. Is that an accurate summary, Blondie?
A little bit more negative than my summary would have been, but yeah, mostly accurate.
So basically we got nailed by some big thunderstorm. As soon as we set up, basically the thunder and the lightning started and the rain got harder, and yeah. It's one of those nights that you really wish you had hiker wine, but wait, isn't that most nights? I'm just here desperately trying to finish my coffee, do my luscious locks, all the while Blondie is like putting pressure on me.
Time to go.
So normally we would be spending a little time trying to dry things, but since we're meeting somebody at 9:30 this morning, we've got to book it down the hill. So I'm just trying to rush Blondie out of the tent. Did you see her eyes? There's something wrong with them. They had like roll back up in her head. I think that might be a neurological thing. Maybe that explains the giggles. So I'm just thinking of, informative things we can do for our last couple of days. My informative thing is how to accomplish all the things without getting out of the tent. Because as you can see, still in the tent, still doing things. Blondie's will be how to have a medical issue where your eyes are always like, the entire time. And now, having accomplished almost everything, I consider getting out of the tent.
Get out of the tent!
Oh, honeymoon's over. Before she was like, can I do anything for you? Now she's like, out of the tent, asshole! See, I'm here being all productive and she's just been like giggling. I'm like, okay, here, we can do a series on how to accomplish all the things inside the tents. 3 steps. First, get in the tent. 2, do all the things in the tent. 3, give Blondie crap, because she's running around outside doing like...
There was also like an hour and a half of screwing around in there.
That's called editing the Massitator empire. I've been Massitatoring all morning in the tent, and she's just like...
That does not go on YouTube. No.
Blondie's currently trying to ignore me and find inner peace. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to get us out of here. Oh. And see how much interference there is.
Okay, we're done with phone time this morning.
No. Blondie, some people might say, if I hadn't woken up and chugged 3 cups of coffee, maybe we would have gotten out of here a little bit earlier, because I wouldn't have had to run desperately into the bushes.
So what you're saying is there's absolutely no possible way we could feasibly get out before 8 o'clock. Physically impossible.
Unless we ran out of coffee. So this is the trail we were on last night, and there's a couple of these little paths that lead off. That's the main trail. And we kept following them, and we just kept finding people everywhere in the bushes. Probably happier to have set up camp before the rain than we were. And here's a fun way to start out the morning. So when I was editing together the video from yesterday, I noticed I didn't really do a good job of showing just how difficult it got. I mean, we were hauling all day, and there were sections that were so steep, you're having to pull on roots and climb up rocks and stuff like that. And that doesn't really come across real well unless you try and over dramatize that, and I can never stand that. So I started down in Florida, and I went through Big Cypress, and I was looking on YouTube, and I thought, oh hey, unnamed YouTube hiker just went through there. And so I saw a clip of the video they did, and I mean, they literally set up the camera, walked back across the section, and then spent a couple of minutes like walking across that same section, cursing and like goofily tripping every step. Now, could you lose your footing there? Yes. Were they over dramatizing that section? Massively. And all that does is discourage people from doing it, because it's like, oh look, haha, funny video. I wouldn't even be able to get through, editing a clip like that into a video, much less actually publish it. So it's a hard balance. I do want to show the challenges out here because I want to remember them when I look back on these, but I just can't stand the overly dramatic style of videos. I blame people raised on reality TV, because then they feel the need to like do this angle as they cry into the camera for long lengths of time. Wolfman at Helltown Bridge really set a high bar for bridge crossings on the AT. I feel disappointed every time now. So we actually made it down to this parking lot way ahead of schedule because the trail was just beautiful. It seems like after the hut, all of a sudden it just completely changed character. And those clouds would be why we're not out hiking today. You may be wondering, why am I not sitting in a tub right now? So at least so far it hasn't been storming, but there are clouds again. Never know out here. We ran into a couple other groups of hikers we knew when we were getting shoes and whatnot who had bailed off for the same reasons as us. Not wanting to be on, up above tree line as the thunderstorms hit us again. Camp Massachusetts in the morning, waiting on a shuttle driver. And I was perfectly calibrated so I'd be ready right when it was going to come, and it was late. So somebody else, who shall remain nameless, may have been stressing out since she woke up at like dark 30 this morning, and then keeping after me saying I'm not going to be ready while she's still like. It's supposed to be clear today. And here we are waiting for yet another shuttle driver who's currently 10 minutes late for their already 20-minute delayed schedule. Okay, we are back on the trail. I have horrible shoes that will at least hold together for 4 days. And we have a horrible climb today. Blondie's trying to get me to do like, 8,000 feet again?
Yeah.
In bad shoes after not having slept real well. This is going to go really well. On the plus side, tomorrow is going to be the extra specialist Taters Tuesday ever, considering it is her last Taters Tuesday on this trail, and she's going to be 47 years old. I know, very few wrinkles for 47, huh? And no sooner do we get out on the trail, but it's now raining again. So obviously the last thing you want to do on a hike like this is have to switch shoes and experiment, especially at this late a date. And if you do have to switch shoes, you want to kind of stay in the same class, like, Ultra Olympus. I could switch to the Lone Peaks, the Topo Ultra Ventures, stuff like that, and it's going to be the same fit. Unfortunately, the only 14s we could locate around here were Keens, which are more of like a mid-weight boot, which means they're a lot stiffer, which means the fit matters more, and I have really wide feet. So a lot of things don't fit me real well. That means that these are much more likely to cause blister type issues. They also don't breathe near as well, which always causes issues for me because I have sweaty, well, not just feet, sweaty everything. Also, I'm going from a zero drop shoe to a more tilted shoe. I've already had one time going down because of these. They just have to last till Pinkham Notch, and then I can send them away, and the guy coming to pick Taters up has my new pair of Olympuses. Unfortunately, bad shoes can make just a couple of days really long.
So what mile is this for you guys?
Well, this is Mount Liberty. Sadly, the view is not quite what we were hoping for. Taters somewhat reluctantly followed me up here so I could knock it off on Peak Bagger. Of course, Most people drop their packs down here. We carried ours. I'm still amazed there aren't more issues with rodents and whatnot getting into your pack. I've seen so much of that with my groups out in the Sierra. Okay, well that's more like it. Now if the clouds would just burn off for the day. This is a Monday. So we're on the far side of Lafayette, and it's cleared up off and on, but just for these little hazy views. Looks like down we go, so up we can go.
Water fill up at the Galehead Hut. After this, we just got to get up South Twin Peak, which is another 0.9 miles and 1,200 feet. So that's going to be a pretty darn steep climb. We ended up just doing about 15 miles today. We had hoped to do a little more than that, but between a whole lot of climbing, some steep downhills with lots of rocks, and Matt not being in ideal shoes, this was still a plenty tough day. We found a cozy little spot in the trees. It just barely fits our tent. Home sweet home for the night.